The memory of the red ribbon was a hook in his heart, pulling him forward. For 3 days, Kalen walked. The gray beach gave way to a forest of grief wood, the trees twisting towards the ash-choked sky like the limbs of tortured giants. The silence was a weight. Every snap of a twig under his boot was a blasphemy. He was an intruder in a tomb. He moved by following the echoes. They came more frequently now, no longer just visions, but sensations. A patch of brambles would fill him with a child's fear of thorns. The scent of pine, where there were no pines, would bring a wave of nostalgic warmth. He was a lodestone for the ghosts of this land, and they were his only map. He knew, with a certainty he couldn't explain, that he was heading towards a place of immense significance, a place where the echo of the man with the daughter was strongest. On the fourth day he found the farm. It was nestled in a small, sheltered valley, the soil not gray ash, but a dull, stubborn brown. A stone cottage, its roof sagging like a tired back, stood beside the skeleton of a barn. And there in the field was a single gnarled apple tree. It was dead, of course. Everything was. But the echo here was so powerful it was a physical pressure. He didn't just see it. He stepped into it. Sunlight, the smell of baking bread and rich earth. The tree was heavy with red fruit. A woman with kind eyes and flour on her hands stood in the doorway of the cottage, smiling. "Kalen, she's waiting for you by the tree." His own name, spoken by a stranger, shattered the illusion. The sun vanished, replaced by the eternal twilight. The smell of bread became the stench of rot. The woman was gone, but under the dead apple tree a figure remained. It was not the little girl. It was the hollowed. It was him, or rather, it was the man he had been in the echo. He wore the faded, tattered remains of the same clothes Kalen had seen in the vision. His face was a gaunt mask of the face Kalen saw in still water, but utterly empty. The hollowed was on his knees, digging at the hard ground with his bare, broken fingers. There was no purpose to the motion, no goal. It was just the endless, looping echo of a single action. And then the hollowed spoke. Its voice was the sound of gravel grinding in a rusted can. "Lily, I'll plant it for you. Just wait." A fresh, searing echo tore through Kalen. He was on his knees, laughing. The little girl, Lily, was dancing in a circle, her red ribbons flying. She held a shiny brown seed in her hands. "Papa, plant it, so we can have apples forever." He took the seed, his big, calloused hands gentle. "Right here, my little blossom. We'll plant it right here." Kalen cried out, falling to one knee. The love in that memory was a physical agony. It was the most real thing he had ever felt, and it was a lie. It had never happened. Or it had happened to a different Kalen, in a petal of reality that had been plucked and discarded. The hollowed took no notice of him. It just kept digging its meaningless hole. A new sound cut through the valley's silence. Not an echo, the crunch of heavy boots on ash and the cold jangle of steel. From the tree line, 5 figures emerged. They wore the polished gray enameled armor and featureless helms of the Wardens of the Vale. Their leader held a complex device of spinning crystals and copper wire, a seeker designed to detect the unique resonance of the dream touched. The fugitive, the lead warden's voice was electronically modulated, devoid of emotion. "You have led us a tedious chase, Echo Rat." Kalen rose slowly, his hands open. "I'm not your enemy." "You are a destabilizing variable," the warden stated, as if reciting a fundamental law. "Your presence here has already intensified the local blight signature. This entire valley will be a weeping within the weak because of you. Surrender for containment, or be neutralized." They drew their blades, which hummed with a low, neutralizing energy designed to sever a dream-touched's connection to the echoes. Kalen looked from their cold, impersonal helms to the hollowed, still digging, still whispering to a ghost. This broken shell was what the warden sought to preserve, a world of empty, safe, meaningless motion, a world without red ribbons. No, Kalen said. The word was quiet, but it hung in the air. The lead warden gestured. Two of them charged. Panic seized Kalen. He had no weapon, no training. But as the first warden swung his humming blade, another echo flashed, not of the farmer, but of a different life, a different Kalen. A soldier standing on a wall, deflecting a blow from a monstrous, twisted creature. The muscle memory was there, the shift of weight, the parry. Kalen moved without thinking. He sidestepped the blade, grabbing the warden's arm and using his momentum to throw him into the second attacker. It was clumsy, but it worked. They went down in a clatter of armor. The lead warden raised his seeker. Resistance confirms. Authorized for termination. A third warden lunged, his blade aiming for Kalen's heart. There was no time to dodge. Desperation and a lifetime of lost memories converged into a single instinctual act. Kalen didn't reach for a weapon. He reached for the echo. He focused on the hollowed under the tree, on the ghost of the seed, on the phantom laughter of a little girl. He didn't just remember it. He pulled. The world flickered. For a single breathtaking second, the apple tree was whole and laden with fruit. The cottage was warm and inviting. The sound of Lily's laughter filled the air. The effect on the wardens was immediate and catastrophic. Their seeker flared, its crystals overloading and shattering with a sharp crack. The lead warden clutched his helmet, screaming as the pure, untainted joy of the echo clashed violently with the blight-hardened conditioning of his mind. The warden attacking Kalen faltered, his blade wavering as he was momentarily blinded by a sun that hadn't shone in decades. It was only a second. Then the vision was gone, but it was enough. The wardens were disoriented, reeling from a beauty they had been trained to consider a weapon. Kalen didn't stay to fight. He turned and ran, not in blind panic, but with a new, grim purpose. He sprinted past the hollowed, who continued digging, oblivious to the battle, the magic, the man who shared his face. As he reached the far tree line, Kalen risked a look back. The lead warden was on his feet, staring not at Kalen but at the hollowed under the tree. He then looked down at his shattered seeker, and then back towards Kalen, a silent, helmeted judgment. Then Kalen vanished into the shadows of the grief wood, the ghost of a child's laughter and the taste of a stolen apple, echoing in a soul that was no longer entirely his own. He was a fugitive, a weapon, and a repository for dead dreams. And he was finally, terribly, awake.